So, what if you could tap into a state of mind that unlocks peak performance and profound enjoyment? In your personal life, at work, everywhere. Well, today we're diving into exactly how to do that.
Just think about it for a second, right? Maybe you were playing an instrument, deep in a video game, or just completely lost in a project you cared about. You look up at the clock, and bam, the entire day is just gone. That feeling of being totally absorbed where the rest of the world just fades away, well, there's a name for that.
Yep, that incredible feeling is called flow. And it's not just some random happy accident. It's actually a well-researched psychological state that you can learn to create for yourself. So let's break down what it really is. The whole idea of flow was first described by the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He was studying artists who would get so lost in their work that they literally forget to eat or sleep. He said it felt like being carried along by a current, just completely immersed. It's that feeling of being totally in the zone. So, what does it actually feel like to be in flow? Well, there are a few key ingredients. First, you've got this intense focus, right here, right now. Then your actions and your awareness just kind of merge. You and the task become one. You lose that little voice in your head, that self-consciousness. You feel totally in control, time gets all weird, and maybe most importantly, you're not doing it for some external prize. The activity itself is the reward. Now, here's the secret sauce. Flow doesn't just happen. It lives right at that perfect intersection of challenge and skill. Think about it. If a task is way too easy, you get bored. If it's way too hard, you get anxious and frustrated. But when the challenge is just right for your skill level, pushing you a little bit, that is the sweet spot. That's where flow happens. Okay, so how do you find that perfect balance? It's not about luck, I can tell you that. It's all about mastering your internal game, the mindset you bring with you to every single challenge you face. This might sound a little backward, but honestly, the key to unlocking peak performance and flow, it often comes down to how you handle setbacks. It is all about changing the way you think about what it means to fail. And really, you've got two paths here. With a fixed mindset, failure feels like a brick wall, a dead end. But with a growth mindset, failure is just data. It's a lesson. People with a growth mindset go looking for challenges because they know that's where the real improvement happens. And guess what? That's the exact environment that flow needs to show up. And this isn't just some feel-good theory, okay? The data on this is wild. Studies on athletes show that the ones who actually analyze their mistakes can see their performance jump by as much as 25%. And get this, athletes who see setbacks as learning moments are 40% more likely to reach their goals. They're literally building resilience with every single stumble. I mean, just think about the legends. Michael Jordan didn't even make his high school varsity team at first. Serena Williams has talked over and over about how her toughest losses taught her the most valuable lessons. Usain Bolt's early disqualifications, they forced him to perfect his start. You see, their stories aren't about avoiding failure, they're about using it as rocket fuel. So, right alongside embracing failure, mastering your internal game demands focus. And that means choosing the long-term goal over the easy short-term distraction. When you train your ability to delay gratification, you're building up the mental muscle you need to stick with a tough task long enough to find that sweet spot, long enough for flow to finally kick in. Okay, so once you start to get how to find flow for yourself, you can actually use those same ideas to create engagement in other people. This is the next level, mastering the external game. It's about using psychology to connect and persuade, whether you're giving a presentation, writing an email, or, hey, making a video just like this one. Seriously, these 5 tips are absolute gold. Keeping it brief, setting the right tone, hooking your audience right away, all super important. But honestly, those last 2, telling a story and always framing it around you, those are the real powerhouses for creating that deep sense of engagement. Look, everyone, and I mean everyone, loves a good story. Our brains are just fundamentally wired for it. A story gives us structure, it creates an emotional connection, and it gives us a clear path to follow. And when you do it right, you can actually put your audience into a flow-like state, capturing their attention completely. So how do you do it? How do you build one? You start right here. You identify a conflict, a challenge, a pain point. You're basically setting up the challenge part of the flow equation for them, something that requires their focused attention. And then you deliver the payoff. You offer the resolution. This super simple problem-solution framework, it's the backbone of pretty much every compelling story ever told. Your message becomes the hero that solves their problem, which gives them this satisfying conclusion that makes them feel like their attention was worth it. And this, my friends, is the final, crucial piece of the puzzle. Even with the best story in the world, your audience has always subconsciously asking one thing: what's in it for me? So by framing your entire message around you, the viewer, the listener, the customer, you make it personal, you make it relevant, you make it basically impossible to ignore. All right, let's bring this all home. We've talked about finding your own personal flow, your internal game, and we've talked about engaging others, the external game. But here's the thing. They aren't two separate ideas. They actually feed each other in this incredibly powerful, continuous loop. But first, a really quick but important heads up. And this comes from the man who defined flow himself. As amazing as this state is, there's a catch. We can get so hooked on that perfect, orderly feeling of flow that we start avoiding the messiness and unpredictability of real life. It's just a good reminder to find balance in everything. Okay, so here's where our loop begins. When you work on your internal game, adopting that growth mindset, learning to focus, you create the perfect conditions for yourself to experience more and more moments of flow. And then, when you're working from that state of flow, the stuff you create is just better. It's more focused, it's more creative, it's more compelling. That total immersion you felt translates directly into a higher quality result that really connects with other people. And this is what closes the loop. When you put that compelling work out there, you get feedback. Maybe it's praise, maybe it's constructive criticism, or maybe it's just the deep satisfaction of a job well done. That feedback then strengthens your skills and your confidence, which reinforces your internal game, and that makes it even easier to find flow the next time. See? It's a virtuous cycle. So at the end of the day, engagement isn't something you just hope for or wait for. It's something you actively build. You engineer it, both inside yourself and in the way you connect with the world around you. So the only real question left is, where are you going to start?